Hey guys, in today's Book to Screen, I'm going to be talking about Zoo, based off of the book by James Patterson and Michael Ledwidge, starring James Wolk, Billy Burke, Kristen Connolly, Nonzo Anansi, and Nora Arnizetter. So before I get going with this book to screen review, I'm going to give you guys a heads up. There will be absolutely no spoilers in this video, so you can watch all the way through. So just a quick plot about what Zoo is about in case you have not seen this first season. When violent animal attacks start occurring across the entire world, it's up to a team of people who specialize in various different fields to come together and see if they can create some sort of cure that can help save the animals and also save humanity. This first season was 13 episodes. It did have a cliffhanger. I have no idea if it's coming back for a second season. I think it could definitely come back for a second season. There's definitely enough material to work with for a second season. In general, I did really enjoy Zoo. I thought it was really good. I initially read the book a few years ago, pretty much a few months after it first came out, and I did have some issues with the book. I wasn't entirely happy with the book. If you want to know more of my thoughts on the book specifically, I do have a book review if you want to hunt it down and watch it. But yeah, I did have a lot of issues with the book, but at the same time, I still enjoyed the book for like entertainment reasons. I just thought it was a really neat and clever idea. You know, we traditionally have, you know, zombie apocalypse sort of things, you know, TV shows and movies, you know, a lot of focus on like a zombie apocalypse. So I kind of liked this idea of an animal apocalypse, if that makes any sort of sense, you know, that you have these animals for no reason just going wild and crazy, and there's something clearly wrong with the animals. And yeah, the whole premise is just really interesting and fascinating, and definitely a big moral lesson on animals in general, and just the way we treat our earth, the way we treat animals, you know, the way we treat our environment. So yeah, it's a big kind of commentary on all of that. Like I said, I read the book a few years ago, so I'm a bit hazy on some of the details, but right from the get-go, I noticed some major book-to-screen differences, and a lot of it I can't really even talk about because, like I said, I'm not going to be doing spoilers in this video. But yeah, if you have read the book, this first season it's partially the book, but partially not. It's kind of its own thing in some ways, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing. The story kind of starts off in the same general direction. At the very beginning of both the book and this first season, two lions escape, and that's kind of the first hint of some weird things kind of going on. But that's kind of the only major similarity, is just the starting point. The main two characters in the book are Jackson Oz and Chloe, who is a French girl. And in the book, Jackson Oz, he's kind of like a biologist and an ecologist. I'm not quite sure if he's like a professional ecologist slash biologist. I think he's trying to get a degree in that field, if I'm recalling correctly. But in the mini-series, or first season, Jackson Oz, he's just like a safari guide, I think is what he is. He's already in Africa at the start of the mini-series, whereas in the book he's like in New York or something, and then he goes to Africa to investigate some lions and whatnot. And then we have Chloe. In the book, Chloe is an ecologist, I believe, and in the show she's actually like part of the French secret intelligence or something. I'm not quite sure on the details of that. If she's like I don't think she's a spy. I don't think she's a French spy. She just works for the Department of Defense in France, I think. So yeah, from the get-go, in the very first episode, I could tell the immediate differences. Jackson and Chloe, they're two totally different people. They even have two totally different personalities compared to what they have in the book. So yeah, what the miniseries kind of did, it just took the names, pretty much, and put them into the show and whatnot, and that's kind of all they took. They took the general outline of the plot of the book and then some of the characters, and that was it. Because then the miniseries is also littered with a bunch of other characters, and characters who I believe are not even in the book. For instance, we have Kristen Connolly. She plays a journalist. She's investigating this company that is doing some shady stuff, and she's kind of on the trail of some of these mishaps with the animals too. So yeah, we have her. She's a journalist. She's definitely not in the book at all. We're also introduced to Mitch, who is played by Billy Burke, and he's like a lion keeper, I want to say. He works at the zoo, so he has close contact with some of the animals and has first-hand experience with some of the weirdness going on. And I tell you what, while I'm here talking about Billy Burke was like the best thing about this miniseries. I'm not even exaggerating. I feel like Billy Burke is always the best thing about anything he's in. I loved him in the 2 seasons of Revolution that there was before it got canceled. He was like my favorite character in that. And then even in Twilight, I loved his character in Twilight. He played Bella Swan's dad. People were always going, oh, I'm Team Edward, I'm Team Jacob. And you know what? I was always Team Charlie. So yeah, for me personally, I loved Billy Burke's character in Zoo. Even though he wasn't even a character from the book, that was okay. I just loved his character. He was so sarcastic and snarky and bitter and angry about everything. And he was just easily my favorite character and easily one of the standout performances in this first season. And then we also have Nonso Anozie, who is just terrific in everything he's in. I mean, seriously, does he pop up in everything? He pops up in just about everything, and he's always excellent. And he is Jackson Oz's friend, and I guess they're both safari guides together. And a lot of the core of the show is actually the relationship between Nonso Anozie's character and James Wolk, who plays Jackson Oz. The majority of a lot of the stuff going on is their relationship with one another. And then, like I said, I've already talked about Chloe quite a bit, and she was played by Nora Arnzetter. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. I also really liked her. I wasn't too impressed with Chloe's character at the beginning. It took me quite a long time to really warm up to Chloe, but once I did, I fell in love with her character. And then I haven't really talked about James Wolk's performance. I've talked about Jackson Oz quite a bit, but James Wolk, I think he did a pretty excellent job with Jackson's character. In the book, Jackson was actually kind of unlikable and really irritating, and I had a lot of issues with Jackson in the book. So yeah, in the miniseries, James Wolk definitely did a really great job with Jackson Oz. I preferred his character in the miniseries compared to the book. Kind of like Chloe, it kind of took me a little while to warm up to Jackson, but yeah, once his character kind of got going, I really started to fall in love with him too. So yeah, I really adored the cast. I think the casting choices were really excellent. When you watch this mini-series, it's not a perfect show by any means. It does have its fair share of issues. You have to suspend your disbelief on many occasions. You just have to go with this show and have a good fun time. You can't take it too seriously. If you take it too seriously, you're not going to enjoy it at all. But it does have a very slow start, but once it does get going, it gets really, really good. One of my biggest issues actually with this first season was the villains. I don't really know. It's kind of hard to talk about the villains without giving away spoilers. The thing is, what the show does, it introduces you to a villain but then you'll also get introduced to another villain, and then you'll get introduced to another villain, and you kind of have this chain of villains, and they all kind of replace each other, and it kind of got really annoying after a while. And I feel like the show kind of suffered from that, with this constant chain of villains, rather than having one constant villain, if that makes any sort of sense. So yeah, that was definitely a big issue for me, because it made the whole season feel really jumpy and inconsistent. So yeah, I mean, even though the miniseries did have its fair share of problems and issues, and sometimes you just have those eye-rolling moments, it also had some really heartwarming moments and just a lot of great intensity and action to it. And in general, I just love the premise. I love this idea of wild and crazy animals, and what the hell is going on, and how do we stop it, and yeah, humanity is the endangered species, basically, and the animals are fighting back. I just love the whole idea and theme and whatnot, and I'm crossing my fingers for a second season. I can definitely see where a second season could possibly go. So that's it for this book to screen on Zoo. Have you guys read the book by James Patterson? Have you seen this miniseries / first season, whatever it is? Do you plan on reading the book or watching the miniseries? Just let me know your thoughts down below. And feel free to talk about spoilers. Just give a heads up in the comments that you're about to talk about spoilers if you have seen this miniseries, and I'd be really glad to have a conversation with you. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you liked this book to screen, you may like these other book to screens. Bye guys.